Fan, short for fanatic, is the one who's screaming their lungs out in sub-0 degree temperatures, still believing when the chips are down, and never, ever giving up on their teams or their players. From the closest seat to the worst one, we want to meet you all. This is the American Fan.
What's going on, sports fans? It's your boy Josh Williams back again with another edition of the American Fan 365 podcast. I am unfortunately not joined by my host, Miss Rosine, the front row to my right. Ro actually is the mother of a middle schooler now. Her son Mikey had his 5th grade graduation today, so we had pushed the show back to try to get Ro in, but Ro wasn't able to make it. She gets a DNP for the day. She gets a DNP. So I am always, of course, joined by the big man in the back, Mr.
Yes,
George
sir.
Carmona. George, how you doing today?
Doing phenomenal. I even got my little congrats Mikey up here. So, you know,
there you go. I like
they
it.
got the first part of the show on. So congrats to the little man. Middle school.
Middle schooler, man.
Hey, that's where little boys become men.
Things
right?
start happening for sure everywhere. It's so funny. On the way here, I was thinking to myself like, ooh, pray God for that first girl that breaks little Mikey's heart. That's
no.
That's 5'3" of a problem she does not want in her life.
Yeah, we got to tell Mikey, hey, they're just friends. All right, just have a whole bunch of girlfriends. All right,
Listen,
never lock yourself down.
Listen, Mikey, suffer in silence like the rest of us. Do not go to Mom Duke's because it's gonna get ugly.
Suffer in silence.
Suffer in silence, bro. It's all right. It's whatever happened to your girlfriend. It's fine. It didn't work out.
On to the next one, Mom. Don't even worry about it. She didn't break my heart.
Oh man, but George, I survived another EDC weekend in Vegas. How bad was the traffic for you? How bad was it?
So I actually wasn't around that area whatsoever.
Okay.
So I was very blessed, but I've went to EDC before, and I know.
You have?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So 2 years ago now, I did the full 3 days, bro. Full 3 days. And like a true EDC 3 days.
Were you rolling?
Wait. Hey, a true EDC, bro. Okay.
Nice work.
3
Nice
days.
work.
Yeah. Wow, what a marathon. It's honestly like, it's the equivalent to a person that would never run a marathon. Like, I can say I ran a marathon.
You ran an EDC.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's actually really fair. Oh, man. But,
traffic?
George, the traffic was literally out of hand. Vegas waits until so just for those of you out there that aren't from Vegas, the state flower of Vegas is a construction cone. And they are in full bloom right now. They are all around the valley, from the east, north, south, and west, and on the Strip. It's really, really bad. And God bless you if you're not running into traffic, George, because you have you've got like a force field around your car or something.
No, I just travel at like the times of the day that are like respectable.
Okay.
I did see some people that were driving back home from EDC today.
Yeah.
Like there was a person in the fast lane on the 215, and I could have swore like it was an 80-year-old person. They were driving like 65 in the fast lane of the 215.
Which is unheard of in Vegas.
And I drive and I like look over, I'm like, is this an old lady? Like pit viper shades, like just looked like they had just run the marathon, bro. Like they were out of it. I'm like, you guys got to pull off to the side. Like, get over 2 lanes.
My man was just trying to get home, man. just trying to get home. Just trying to get home, man. I ain't trying to break no more laws. I'm just trying to get home. Man, but big combat weekend, both in boxing and mixed martial arts. First off, Devin Haney. Congrats to Devin Haney, I guess. George, did you see the fight?
I watched the first 7 rounds before the stream kind of cut.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you hit me up? I always got the goods. I sat and watched it at Barry's. I was just chilling on my phone like this.
Oh, yeah. No. I was at a Mother's Day like party thing.
Okay.
So it was like they were opening presents. I was like, I'm gonna put it away.
Oh.
But up until that point, I agree with you. Where it's like everything that Haney threw in the first 6 rounds, Loma threw like 3 times the amount.
5.
Yeah.
Literally 5. Like, hap. Then I'm going to use my footwork. Like, that was, especially for it to be unanimous.
Mm-hmm.
And then not even like close. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, 1 round. Like, they gave him like 5 rounds extra. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Like, it's getting ridiculous. You know, some of the Canelo decisions are just like, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say that these guys are getting bought off, but
no,
it's getting
people
out of hand.
bow down to that fighting style, and I think it's bad, bro. Like, where it's so much feeling out and around. Where what I mean by this is like, it's almost way too defensive.
Who's
like,
that?
Haney.
Oh,
I would
okay,
say
like Floyd a little bit.
Floyd was like the leader of it.
Yeah.
I could see it with Canelo now, but it's like we gotta reward offense 2 times the amount. Like the output, you know, as opposed to just not being hit. Like I respect that.
Well, in my thing to the output, Loma is always known to take like 5 rounds to let his computer digest what you're doing and all that stuff. He actually really was going for it because remember, he lost all of his belts to Teofimo Lopez, and it's like he lost them because it took him too long to get into the fight. Like that fight, I was like, oh, come on, Loma. Like he's like winning these rounds, like not even a question.
Yeah.
I don't think he didn't do that this time. And that's what really frustrated me because that was so not like him. He was attacking from the opening bell and I loved it.
Yeah, and I'm ready to start seeing some of these stud matchups. I don't even care if the weights don't necessarily match up, but we need to see Tank and Haney at some time here in the next 2 years. We need to see Shakur Stevenson with Tank or Haney.
Sure.
And let's just cycle like through that.
Yeah.
And let's really establish out of those 3, because I think it's 3 prominent names now in boxing other than Jake Paul that are like, I would sit down and watch this.
Yeah, no, that's true. I was happy that Loma finally got that kind of a stage. You know what I mean? Big pay-per-view card. It was at MGM Grand, which shame on you, Top Rank, because like, come on, let's step it up a bit. But anyway, outside of that, you know, I of course I'm a big Loma fan, but I do like Devin Haney, and I didn't necessarily respect the decision. Also, UFC Hill versus Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern comes away with a unanimous decision, really starting to kind of restart her career. Not restart her career, but kind of get back on the track of trying to get to a title fight. But big ups to my man, Joaquin Buckley, getting back in the winner's circle, moving down from 185 to 170. And you know, really doing a big thing, doing a great job. I'm still upset at you for flaking on our dinner date. No homo. But you know.
Hey, no. The man needs to respect the dinner date.
Here it is. Oh, leg kick.
Yeah, it's
just
so
in
quick.
case you needed
right there.
Well, look, and to his point, okay, so I was so nervous because when he hit him and the way the ref kind of looked at him, I was like, if he calls this a no contest, I'm going to lose my mind. But I was so nervous because but the thing was though, the guy went down, but he kind of still was getting up. And so it was like,
yeah.
And the ref didn't run in and like really, you know how the refs usually like if somebody's out.
I did not respect that ref with a little shove at the end. Like protect the fighter. You know what I mean? And then that other fighter will know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you're trying to pull somebody off, it's a lot like different than like going and protecting. Like
yeah.
And then you can go address that dude after and just be like, whoa.
Sure.
You know, like you know that one was uncalled for, and you know you live to see another day. But I was not a fan of that.
I was nervous.
Same.
I was very nervous because Buck definitely did need this one, and I don't know if he got a fight of the night bonus or
no. They gave it to Dern.
He didn't get any bonuses.
I don't know if he got any bonuses, but
I hope he got a performance.
Dern
bonus.
and Hill got fight of the night.
Okay, that's fine. Wow, I don't really.
Yeah.
Wasn't the fight of the night.
That's what Austin said too. I myself did not watch that one, but that's the same thing Austin said. He was like, I I don't know.
I love Miss Hill, Miss Angela, but that was not fight of the night. That was not necessarily a great performance from her. It was pretty one-sided for it to be a fight of the night type deal.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I wouldn't have thought that Buck's fight was fight of the night either, because
I mean, he is so fast. I mean, the double leg takedown that he had early in like round 1, where I was like,
yeah,
you could play linebacker for the Saints any day of the week, bro. Like, get your ass over here. Let's thicken you up a little bit.
yeah, seriously, right? Because 185, 205, that's still not big enough.
It would be tiny, but I mean, he's a cat. Dude.
Maybe a safety, maybe.
Yeah,
but he's a small safety. He's like 5'9", 5'10".
Hey, let's just do like they did in the draft this year. Just label him as a linebacker, and it just means anybody in the box, really. Like,
figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Athlete.
He's Buffalo nickel, as my commanders would say. But before we move on out of combat sports, some huge news in MMA came out this past week, with Francis Ngannou no longer being a free agent, signing officially with the PFL. And it was a historic deal, but I'll quickly go through it a little bit. He gets equity in PFL. He gets a seat on the board of directors. He becomes the chairman of PFL Africa and its expansion into Africa, basically bringing fights to the continent and trying to find a pipeline of fighters and giving them a road to success in the PFL as well as MMA. It's also going to allow him the freedom to box and create his own events and sponsorships. He's guaranteed $2 million each of his fights in the PFL, plus 50% of all pay-per-view buys as a member of the super fight division. And my biggest thing to you, George, is the things that Dana White said after the Dern Hill card, where he essentially attacked not only the deal, but attacked Francis Ngannou. Basically, and I'll just give you a couple quotes. Based on what I know, this is Dana White speaking, based on what I know about the deal, it makes no sense to me, and it's not what we do. And my biggest question to Dana is why? Why isn't this what you do? Outside of Conor McGregor, there are no fighters in UFC history that have made generational wealth. They might have gotten wealthy. Listen, as Dave Chappelle said, no, not Dave Chappelle. Chris Rock said, $50 million, you can lose that in a bad summer and a cocaine habit. Ask Rick James.
Yeah.
I'm talking generational wealth. Conor McGregor made over, 8 figures during his time fighting in the UFC, fighting Floyd Mayweather. But outside of that, there are no guys that have made generational wealth. And when we look at it, when we really pull it back, Dana White's net worth is $500 million, George. $500 million.
Yeah, the dude is flush. I've heard, like, working here and being somewhat in the mix, right? Like, I've never seen a more generous individual. I mean, there's the flip side a little bit to what you're saying with how much he wants everybody to know they make and how much they actually make, which is always like it's the gray area we'll never understand, right?
Sure.
But John Orlando said this last week. He's like, when it comes to the UFC underpaying people, when it comes to a guy like O'Day, yeah, O'Day's getting underpaid. But a lot of those big name people are going to get their bread. It's just not disclosed. Because I think Dana also is in the mindset of once all your friends and your family know how much money you make, then the conversations behind all that get a little bit different. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've heard he's trying to protect them, but then it's like, everybody says this. They're not getting paid enough. And you're talking about generational wealth. I think Francis Ngannou was setting himself up to have a master fight between him and John Jones, which I think would have been the biggest pay-per-view in UFC history.
It definitely would be up there. And I mean, to your point, what I guess my retort to that would be, there are guys on the UFC right now that are making 5-5 deals. Still 5-5, 10-10s. And I guess the biggest thing that I would say to anybody saying that these guys are getting paid, or maybe we don't know what they're getting paid, is that once you fight, whether you win or not, so a guy that's on a 5-5 deal, he's only being paid $5,000 to make his weight. So if he loses, he's going home with that $5,000. There are no guarantees that he's not going to fight again for however long. Mm-hmm. So he has to pay his coaches. He has to pay his trainers. He has to pay all of his people on this $5,000 with no guarantees of, hey, I'm going to fight again in 2 months.
Right.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that goes for any of these guys. You know what I mean? Like I can tell you just from my friends that are fighters, I'm not going to mention no names because I don't want anybody's money to get messed up.
Yeah.
But, like it takes them a long time, and it takes them a lot of good performances to actually really start to make solid money. I wouldn't even really call it generational money. I would call it solid money. They're putting their bodies on the line at a level that can't be discredited. You know what I mean? Any one of these guys, God forbid, could die in the octagon. It can 100%. Happen. And for that kind of risk, when we talk about boxing, the money just is not even approaching what boxers make. And this goes into just undercard guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's it happens in all sports. Eventually the players and the athletes will take control of the majority of the money and how it's divvied up. How long will it last? I mean, you're dealing with a master of business. I mean, to put UFC in perspective, I would say they're the 4th most watched sport in America right now. And that's like giving baseball some sort of credit, like maybe
just because of the sheer volume,
right.
Volume of
they're like it may match out, but it's like this dude's built an empire, and with that comes a very strategic plan behind how do I get the most people, and how do I divvy up the money that we have coming in, and I think he makes contracts obviously in favor of the UFC.
Yes,
one day it will flip, and I think Francis had that opportunity. I just don't think it's the time now, but give Dana more age, right? UFC starts making even more money, and then it's going to be a athlete-driven league.
I guess my only last thing, I'll leave it with this. The type of deal, I won't say that this type of deal is fair, because obviously PFL, they're not the UFC. We all can attest to that. But the amount that champions are paid in the UFC isn't enough, point blank period. And these types of deals, because I'll just briefly break it down because I know that a lot of us, don't know.
I mean, I would love to.
Just in terms of pay-per-view buys. So when we say, all right, when they say, oh, there was this amount of pay-per-view buys, right? Let's just throw out, I'll do the math on my phone so I can do it quickly.
Take me to a Mexican swap meet. Show me the
so at a normal amount, George said it's the most watched. So for a numbered UFC card at 2 million pay-per-view buys times $70, which is what they're charging on ESPN right now, that's $140 million, dog. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's dudes on that card that are on a 20-20 deal. So if they win, they get $40,000. Oh, okay, that's cool. But
so I mean, then back to my point. When do you think the strike's going to happen? Because this is how it changes.
I don't think so. The issue, and again, I'll say just my friends that are UFC fighters. I will not say who. The issue is that the guys on top, for whatever reason, they won't raise their hands, and that's who it needs to be. Mm-hmm. The guys on top need to remember when they were on those 5-5s and 10-10s, what that feels like, what that struggle is like, because those are the guys that actually can affect change. If it's the guys at the bottom saying, hey, I can't, and then you get cut, it means nothing. I didn't make any money. I didn't do anything. I just argued, and then they were like, you're not good enough. It might not have been that. Right. It might have been that I was a little too vocal. So it's going to need to be the champions or a Conor or a Sugar Sean O'Malley or those big name guys. Any of those big name guys, they need to come to the table and say, hey, look, this isn't right. And we need to have, I think minimum salaries should be something that should be discussed. If you like, because
Definitely.
honestly, if that would help pare down the UFC, I think it actually would be a good thing. Like, all right, well, if we're gonna have minimum salaries, then we, instead of having 500 fighters, maybe we only have 200. But it's the best 200 in the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So then when you come to the UFC, everybody's on 50-50 deals. Starting.
Right.
That's now we're in some real money.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
You brought up a big thing there. It's condensing the pool.
Yeah, well, you might have to.
And because, hey, the beauty of having them grow the ranks of American sports is they're on every Saturday. However, does it really need to be every Saturday?
Maybe
right?
not.
Because you're loading up thick cards, and a majority of people that truly follow the sport feel the same way. You need to win in order for me to remember your name. I like, a majority of the people that were on the fight card this past weekend, before we started getting into the serious names in the main card, it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
like I can see now that there is so many mouths to feed in this organization. And if there was fewer, it could possibly lead to bigger contracts and the power somewhat shifting.
140 million one card, though. That feeds everyone. That feeds me. That feeds this whole building. That feeds everyone over there. That feeds, brother. $1 billion will end world hunger, George.
Very true.
$1 billion. If one of these billionaires, you're like, you know what? Let's end world hunger and actually do it the right way. We could do it that quick. Well, moving on. Let's go ahead and switch gears over to the PGA. George.
Yes.
Brooks Koepka was a month late on our return on investment. Brooks Koepka wins the PGA Championship. He did not, of course, win the Masters. George and I looked like stars. He was up. It looked like it was going to be wire to wire.
Yeah,
and he gave it up on Sunday.
And now he's won, so the odds will not be in our favor
at all
forward. He's going to be like a 10-1, and I'm just not going to like it.
I didn't bet this week. I didn't even bet on it.
No, he was 20-1 to start the weekend.
Dang.
But think about it, the Masters. He was 60-1.
Yeah, bro.
That's you aren't going to find that now with like that caliber of player. But like I was saying, I wish I would have brought up the numbers, but I think he's only 10 Masters or 10 majors away from Tiger, and he's relatively young.
I think he's like 35.
All right, I'm gonna do some searching here.
Yeah. I think he's. I understand what you're saying. Listen, that golfers, that's not old, but I will say that a lot of these guys are breaking down quicker. The money's not as, the money's so much bigger than the guys of yesteryear. So if they get injured, they don't necessarily have to rush back off of injury.
33.
Oh, okay. No,
33,
right.
and he's got 10 majors to win. He's got 4 chances every year, so
Sure.
4 times the next 7. 28 chances to win 10.
We've done this math before, George. We've done this math with a young Eldrick Tant Woods.
Yes.
And things happen.
Yes.
He has 7, though.
Who?
Brooks Koepka's at 7?
He's at 5, and Tiger has 15.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me. Jack has 17. I'm sorry. I think Brooks has a Phil Mickelson-like career. So him being at 5, I think I give him 3 more, and that is a tremendous career.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's a Hall of Fame. Like, he's already in the Hall of Fame now. Number 1 player in the world at one point. When I want to say he won back-to-back and had a chance at 3. Like, he's already in the Golf Hall of Fame. But I think just in relation to how tough the game is and how dope Tiger was for so long, I don't know. I don't know.
It's tough to honestly make that comparison, but like
it's not a bad comparison.
He's hot right now. So like
I think the injuries because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what got Tiger, and he's already had his little bouts with injuries too. It just, for whatever reason, a lot of these guys now, they'll get hot and then something will happen, and then like their wrist or their back or their knee, You know what I mean? Like all that stuff.
He does play interesting style if you ever really do watch him. Not that many practice swings. He plays fast.
Yes, he does.
Super fast. Like I love it. Like
and is cranky with guys when they're not fast.
Yeah, I'm for it, bro. Like I really want a shot clock on some of these golfers, and then if it's just a shot clock, and then the people behind you are going to start hitting, bro. So you got to, like you can have the tee box like roar after a big drive, and you're getting ready. Like, no, you got 45 seconds from the moment you
to
get
make
to your
your
ball.
call.
Yep.
Speed golf, I think George is calling it.
Yep.
I forget what movie that's from. But George.
Yes.
We've got to get out of here on NBA. We got a lot of NBA to talk about today. We're going to start. I'm not even going to do this to you. We're going to start with the Nuggets Lakers series. Game 4 tonight. Can the Lakers come back, George?
The Lakers cannot come back. I am going to have the opposite thing to say about the second series, but I do think that the Nuggets are not only a team of destiny, but what Mike Malone has done in the last 4 years with that team to really win the draft, win trades, and just keep building monsters around their already two talented players in Jamal Murray and Jokic. I think Jamal Murray is shocking me. Jamal Murray is giving me playoff Dame vibes, like where he's untucking the jersey in the first quarter. Dangerous, right? Do you think they can come back, man? Because this Nuggets team's special.
I will say I think the Lakers are under the bridge. And if you're a 90s kid or an 80s kid like me, you know that's a Red Hot Chili Pepper song.
Under the bridge.
and this is it for them. Yeah, I mean, listen, I said Jamal Murray was going to be a problem. I said that this team was going to it was a different matchup than what they saw with the Warriors. And the biggest part of that is because they're a team. You mentioned this team. They're a team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The Warriors are a great team. They're a great collective, but they're really still orbiting around three people. And if one of those three isn't on, or this one's not on, or we can minimize that one, you can start to break apart the team very quickly.
Yep.
When you start talking about Denver, it's like the only person I will say that hasn't really done anything to me, not like on a big level, is Aaron Gordon.
Yep.
Aaron Gordon, he looks lost sometimes in these games, but he's played great defense. He's been a great part of the team, but I mean, all the way down to Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, all these guys are getting off. Like everybody's is contributing to these wins. And I think that's the biggest thing. I guess my question for you, George, is what's next for the Lakers? They have a number of contracts that they have to discuss this season because we're already killing the Lakers off this year. I'm sorry, Ro.
Yeah.
My apologies, Ro, but we're killing them off. D'Angelo Russell is an unrestricted free agent. He's going to want a max deal. He doesn't deserve a max deal, but he's going to want one. So that's one. Lonnie Walker IV, IV, is now also an unrestricted free agent after this season.
Yep.
I think he can come back. I see him being able to come back if the Lakers want him back, but I don't think he's going to be out there getting gobs of money. He had a nice 2-week burst, and that was about all we saw.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks now. That 2 weeks was dangerous. He won. Listen, he won.
He did win.
He won the Warriors series because those 3 games at the end, he was like out of control. But Rui Hachimura is a restricted free agent, and I think Rui has played himself into I won't say a max, but he's like max adjacent. He's a first-round pick of my Wizards, and this was the best basketball Rui has played in his entire NBA career.
Yeah.
But he could possibly go get 15 to 20 million in
I agree.
today's NBA.
I agree. I mean, maybe I just have not been watching the Lakers that much, but do you really think D'Angelo Russell can parlay his way into I'm only getting a max deal?
Not max, but he could go ask for 20 to 25 with a straight face.
But for the Lakers. Yeah, that's the thing. I just don't see the fit, bro. Like, I mean, D'Angelo Russell, his game is still, to me, it's like he hasn't found it. I feel he wants to be that point guard that gets a shit ton of shots up and controls an offense, but then at times I feel like he's a spot up shooter, and I don't see anything on the defensive end that really like says that's the guy I really want on
25 million.
No, and you know, it's just I really hope he can find some place that will like help develop who he truly is. I think the Timberwolves started to have something with him.
Yeah,
but I think that was the best he was.
Brooklyn, he played well too. Remember, he was all-star in Brooklyn.
True.
What I will say though is they traded for him, so it's like, ugh.
Yeah,
you gave up assets to get him back. That's a tough one.
I know you have like a good idea. They have Troy Brown Jr. on the bench, and he had a pretty decent start with the Wizards, right?
No. He struggled with the Wizards as well. He was one of the small forward picks that we had because we just kept drafting small forwards for like a 4-year period.
This'll work.
It was like, how many small forwards do we need on the same roster? Lottery picks, like all like back end lottery guys. Like we had Kelly Oubre, who's one of my guys. Then we drafted Troy, and I feel like there was a third one in there too for sure. I actually know there was.
Otto Porter?
Well, Otto was there. Thank you. Otto was first.
Yep.
Then we drafted the other two, and then I feel like there was another one in there as well, like a foreigner. Yes. What's his name? That's on our team right now. Why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, but yes, we've had four small forwards drafted to the same team. That's Troy. I believe Troy Brown's. I didn't even put him down.
Yeah, no. I mean, I did a shoe trade with him while he was still in high school. We were in he went to Centennial.
Yes, he did.
I was at Northwest. I had a pair of Venice Beach Kobe 8s. I don't know if you remember how sexy those looked.
I think I remember.
They were like rainbow colored.
Yeah, okay, I do remember.
Traded him those for a pair of all red Penny Hardaways that were his. And they still are in my house. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna get him to sign them.
What size? What size did he wear?
He was a size 13 at the time.
Yeah, I was about to say because I feel like he's like a 15.
Oh, dude, yeah, definitely not now. But
okay, all right, interesting. Fun
fact.
But yeah, that is actually a good fact. Dennis Schröeder, who gave up all that money a few years ago.
Keep him over Russell.
Yeah, possibly. And then Austin Reeves, he's a restricted free agent. Somebody is going to give Austin Reeves the Jeremy Lin deal. I just want you to know that. Someone's going to ruin the Lakers' summer and say, "Hey, Austin Reeves, here's $22 million that we know they can't match. Come take it. You could be a starter with us."
Very, very true.
Ooh, Orlando could do that. That would actually be a good spot.
Not bad.
That's not a bad spot.
They need
like as a starter, like, okay, you're gonna come, you're gonna be next to Paolo, and we're gonna make it work.
Who's their guard over?
I don't have nobody. They have a lot of bigs. They don't really have any guards like that.
Yeah,
not like
you're
that.
Very, very true.
Huh. Yeah, and then Malik Beasley has a club option. But keeping it with the Lakers, his last team was the Los Angeles Lakers. Mr. Carmelo Anthony officially retires today after 19 years in the NBA. George, do you have that clip?
Yes.
I think I sent you something over. We got a nice tribute to pay to Mr. Carmelo Anthony.
Man, there's so many good moments from that dude.
Really, really are. There truthfully are. You really forget how dope his career has been.
I'm getting it to load here, partner.
All right, we're good. I don't have row to bounce ideas off of. So
no, but I mean, what's your favorite Carmelo moment? Hit me with it.
Oh, man, I honestly will say the beginning. Carmelo Anthony winning a national championship with Syracuse. That was Jim Boeheim's first national championship. You know, really, really beautiful moment. Also being from my area, being from Baltimore, even though he got to New York and started claiming he was from New York, and it got weird. Uh, but shout out to Carmelo, shout out to Lala, shout out to Cayenne, his son, who he had a really nice tribute video where he talked about his son picking up the legacy. So I'm really excited to see his son and cheer on his son. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the coming home video when he came back to New York was probably my favorite Carmelo moment. And there's a lot of times, even he was one of the players that when he would be playing against the Celtics, seeing Carmelo go off in the fourth quarter, like a Knicks Celtics playoff game, in the early 2000s was like, it was so back and forth. Seeing him, Paul Pierce, it was
Amari
iconic.
Stoudemire, Kevin Garnett. There was some definite. Ray Allen still there too. There was some stars in those games.
It's funny. My computer doesn't want to pay tribute right now. It's hilarious. Carmelo's an icon. Computer, come on.
It's all right. It's all right. Well, we can talk about just some of the things that he did during his career. 10-time All-Star, top 75 greatest player of all time. 9th all-time in scoring, right behind Shaq and Wilt Chamberlain. That's a little bit of a trivia question for you out there, because he wasn't very far behind either of those players. Only a couple hundred points. Also 6-time All-NBA team member. And I guess my question, because this came up in a post that I saw the other day, they had Carmelo Anthony as the number 1 most overrated player of all time in the NBA.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was an interesting list. I can't remember if I screenshot it or not, but he was number 1. And when you list off those accolades that I just mentioned, it's not possible for him to have been overrated. Carmelo had a long career, and really outside of kind of his time in OKC, where things went left and they started asking him to come off the bench. I don't know no 10-time All-Star come off the bench. You know what I mean? Like, when all that happened, that kind of derailed him. And that's when the whole kind of free hoodie Melo movement happened, and Carmelo's out of the league. Carmelo showed when he came back with Portland, he could still go get buckets. That man was averaging 15, 18 points with limited minutes. I
was so excited. I mean, playoff Dame, and then you toss Carmelo in there for that run that they had a couple of years ago. I was like, my God. But yeah, I mean, another iconic Carmelo moment, all the times in Lifetime Athletic, playing in the Sky Lounge. In the off season. And like you said, the hoodie movement, it was the most ridiculous thing, because you were a coach, basketball players at the time, but everybody was like, let's just play basketball with hoodie. I'm like, do you not want to see the floor? Like, do you not realize that this is like the worst thing you can do?
I went to the Lord and I asked him for court vision.
Literally, bro, what are you doing?
That's all I got. I got this. That's it. That's all I can see. But yeah, shout out to Carmelo Anthony. I'll make sure to put the video up on the page. I'll put the video up. I'll tag it with the American Fan. But George, the time has come to discuss your Celtics and the Miami Heat. Can the Celtics come back?
I almost want to let you go first, so I can have something to work off of.
You can have your full allotment of time.
Yeah.
No, the Celtics cannot come back. I said it in our group chat. I think the Celtics were in trouble when Jimmy Butler took whose soul was that I said? Grant Williams. When he took his soul, that was the series. That literally was the series for me.
Yeah.
Because that was game 2, right? That was game 2 when that happened. Yeah, when that happened in game 2. Because I'll put it to you like this. Like, you guys were up that whole game. The entire game, I was like, I don't think Miami's going to get it done. It doesn't look good. And for whatever reason, Miami just kept hanging around enough where it was like, well, if they make a run, it could happen. And when Grant Williams got that bucket and yelled at Jimmy Butler, and then Jimmy Butler came back down and yelled at him,
it was.
I think they went on a 20-0 run
dude,
after that bucket.
I was watching it. The Knights game was going on at the same time. It was right in front of me at the bar, and respecting the Knights fans in the arena, I was like, if you could put the game on over here. So like everyone in the bar is this way.
My game.
I'm like this, and I'm like, did this man just get in Jimmy Butler's face? What the fuck are you doing, you idiot? and it's not the part where he got into his face. I respect it, but I'm like, this is not the one-on-one matchup that I expect to see. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want Grant Williams going one-on-one offensively versus Jimmy Butler.
That's not the matchup we want.
But for some reason, we're like, let's just do that. Like, let's just, like, this is fucking and one mixtapes. Let's go one-on-one matchups for the crowd to get into it. It was the worst idea. And like you said, Josh, from that moment, they have owned our asses. And there's very few teams that I've seen come back from being owned this bad. But what I will say is every dog's got his days. And what will be our biggest factor into winning is if Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson all just somehow go back to what they were 3 months ago when they weren't making any fucking shots. And now they're hitting everything.
Everything.
Yesterday was ridiculous. The
Center bucket, too.
Game 3 was ridiculous, bro. No bank shots. It was, like you said, just they were ripping the nets. And one thing I had pointed out after Game 2 is like, we have no spacing. Or like, we have no offensive spacing whatsoever. Al Horford, sit your fucking ass in the corner and create some lanes for Jaylen Brown. I mean, we are just like beelining, shoulder down. It's an offensive foul the Celtics could have been called for 40 offensive fouls yesterday.
If they wanted to call them.
And I wouldn't have been mad. I would have been like, thank you. Can we stop
doing that?
This horrible offense? Because they were crying, bro, and I'm like, oh, this is not it. But it all goes back to like, your coach allows it.
Yeah. And
there was a moment there when we came out from the second half yesterday, and it was a relatively close game, where we looked like we had that fire. Like it was a somewhat decent halftime speech. Like, you're gonna let these motherfuckers push you around.
Yes. I remember the beginning of the second half. You're right.
You know, they had a little bit of like intensity to them, but then we got punched in the mouth, and we laid down and cried. Like.
He did not take the standing 8.
No.
He just sat there.
No, we looked like Ryan Garcia after the body shot. He said, no more. Like, bro.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's
But they're so hot. Like, here's the thing. I thought we had gotten Miami's best game 1, where they scored an ungodly amount of points. They looked like they did yesterday, right? Where everything was going in.
Yeah.
And I was like, teams aren't capable of that every single night. Like, especially a team of ragtag dudes like that.
Sure.
Caleb Martin, the pride of UNR, just fucking coming out and killing us.
Yeah, no more Grant Williams Tennessee Volunteer flashbacks, please. That's just not a good recipe for success.
No.
So okay, George. So just because I won't say you guys are under the bridge, but
oh no. I mean, you can feel that, but I think we can pull off 2. I think we can pull off 2, and I think we can lose in epic fashion
in 6.
But I just don't think. I think this is the time where even Danny Ainge might come back and just start sitting down and just be like, guys, like, this is not Celtic basketball. Like, I mean, especially, and I hate to get all sentimental, but with it. Bill Russell dies this year. We're playing with 6 on the court. You're playing with the legends
number on you. Oh, that's fair.
And you're gonna fucking lay down like that, bro. Like
that's wow. That's true. I didn't even look at it that way.
It's a big year for the Celtics.
That is true. It is a big year, and that is a missed opportunity because you had the opportunity to make a final for sure.
Definitely.
Well, I guess I have to ask the same question for the Celtics. What is next for the Boston Celtics? Jaylen Brown, unrestricted free agent, will get his Supermax deal. whether it's with the Celtics or elsewhere. And
Yeah.
I don't know if he's coming back to Beantown.
I don't think so either, my friend. And what a great career. What a great way to start what's going to be a Hall of Fame career for that kid. Because I think he finds the right piece. Like, I think the Celtics currently are asking him to do just above his pay grade worth of work on the offensive end. I know he's talented and everything, but he needs a more consistent point guard. He needs a more consistent wing player. Like, it can't be Jason Tatum having a good night, which allows you to produce. I am not going to be super sad because I do think we have to keep Tatum over anybody. Obviously, like we got to make him our guy, but it's a tough role to fill defensively.
Yeah,
because he's a stud on the defensive side.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. That's a two-way loss.
Yeah,
we lose a great defender and we lose a great secondary piece.
Yeah.
That doesn't really create waves and stuff. Good teammate seems like as well.
Yep.
Also, Grant Williams is a restricted free agent. He coming back?
Fucking get rid of him. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the thing. We got to keep either Grant or Marcus Smart, and I think Marcus Smart's locked up.
But Marcus Smart signed last year.
They're the same player, bro. Like, I'm willing to now let's find another piece, maybe a better shooter. Like, Grant Williams, but this just goes to, like, the Celtics offense in the last 4 games is so not representative of what we're truly capable of. Everyone looks afraid to take a shot. But it's like, do I keep him? Do I keep Derek White? Like, I don't know if Derek White's on the list there, but
I don't remember.
I
don't remember. No, I don't think so because it was mostly like those were the main guys, and it was like Mike Muscala and I don't remember Derek White being up there.
By the way, this is to Missoula not knowing how to use a rotation well. Like, Peyton Pritchard gives some relief off the bench.
Sure.
I mean,
and looked good yesterday. I mean,
and it's garbage time, but I'm being truthful. Like, he's quick, and in 7-game series, bro, you know what move's coming. You know the dribble combination. You've watched so much film.
Yeah.
Throwing a guy like that into the game at random points can give you that little spark.
Sure. Especially,
teams off.
Can shoot, dunker, and like you said, is fast. So, listen, and scrappy. So you can never have too many of those guys.
He was definitely a point to prove yesterday with him coming in late and like going off. Like,
Yep. Also, is this the end for Blake Griffin? Blake Griffin is also a free agent, and I don't know do you think Blake comes back? Does Blake go to another team? Does he, you know what I mean? Because he's not playing, so it's like, what's the point, really? Like, you know what I mean? He's made his money, had his shoe deals and all that good stuff. Like, I don't know if he even wants to continue to do it.
And it would have to be a legacy ending type play. Like, I could see him going back to the Clippers, maybe.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, honestly,
that'd be dope.
I love when players do that. A little homecoming video.
That'd be dope. And listen, they could use him.
Yeah.
They definitely could use him. Yeah. Blake still can play. Like,
give Zubac some help down there.
Yeah. They don't have bigs, so shoot. That's not a bad call. Good call, George. Come back, Blake. Come back one more time.
They do. They get Chris Paul and Doc Rivers gets.
Doc comes home. No. I think they're good with Ty Lue.
We're closing the door, Doc.
And Joe, George, I told you it wasn't gonna be good for Crazy Joe Missoula. I told you.
How quick do you think he gets fired after the series?
No, he doesn't.
You don't think he does?
No, you can't fire him. You can't fire him because you literally like you kind of like had him out there twisting like, well, maybe Ime comes back, and then it was like, no, Ime's not gonna come back. Joe's the full-time coach, and that's like mid-season. You don't fire him now, like you just officially hired him.
Yeah, but you have a very stern talking to, like, listen here, dude. You see all the coaches that got fired this last year.
You get swept. You never know nowadays.
Bro,
that's true. That's actually pretty.
The sweep is it though. And if he doesn't have a goddamn pulse on the sideline this next game, like he looks so confused, bro, at all times. And I think maybe it's just you got to stop wearing the all black outfit. I just don't think that's a good look.
Listen, it's tough coming from AAU to the NBA. It's not as easy as it looks. I'm gonna let you know. I'm just let you know right now. I couldn't do it. I can tell you that right now. I couldn't do it, even if I had great help.
Please tell me you at least wear a suit or something. Have some.
Oh yeah, no. Well, most coaches don't even wear suits no more. Like you really think about it.
Wasn't it a rule back in the day? And then they
yes, and I want to say they started to lax it during the bubble, like during COVID.
You're right.
Is when that started to shift from suits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's been a few years now, but yeah, like now most coaches don't wear suits. You really think about it.
Yeah, but I'm just outfit change in some way, shape, or form here, Missoula.
Show me that you're washing your clothes. This is a great day where we're winding down the show, but this is a great day. All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend appears to be going away from this you pick team format that I've hated since the beginning. It's going back to East versus West.
There we go.
As the good Lord intended. Because listen, the league is very balanced now. I think that they initially went to this format because the West always had the better players and guys were getting missed and all that kind of stuff. Going back to East-West, especially with a balanced league, is more fun for me. I feel like it's more rivalries. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I'm good on you, NBA, because the All-Star Weekend has looked like trash for like a good 7 years now.
Yeah, I mean, can anybody, like, why in the world in the early 2000s were All-Star Weekends in pretty much all sports the best thing ever?
Yes.
And now it's like everyone's trying to, they're like, this is the easiest thing to mold to the new generation. And I'm like, just stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's keep the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Let's pat them up. They're going to play football. Let's have East versus West. Let's have it mean something.
Yeah.
Let's have. Here's the thing, though. I do want to keep Elim ending.
You like that?
I do really. I love that format.
Okay.
I love that format.
All right.
I think
you're a TBT fan.
Oh, huge.
You like
dude.
the TBT.
I mean, it just makes so much sense to me. I think they should do it more for AAU and different.
Like different forms of basketball.
Yeah, AAU games fly by. I think it could be a nice way to extend the end and show some real competition.
Well, the one thing I will say as an AAU coach, Jesus Christ, no, because those games, if the second they go a minute over, I'm like, I'm getting cranky. like, get these kids off the floor. Like, my kids got to warm up. Because they'll because trust me, it'll like anytime a game goes in overtime, they'll give you like 2 minutes to warm up. It's like, so like our game don't matter then. Like my kids ain't loose.
Dog.
Like, yeah. So no, I like where your head's at, but maybe for the championship.
There we go.
Maybe championships should be Elam ending. That's fair. George, we're going to close out the show with 2 moments that came up this past weekend. First, we have a Petty LaBelle moment of the day. ESPN aging Adam Sandler before our eyes.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go.
All right.
Stocks, retirement, crypto, Robinhood, run your money. NBA Western Conference Finals.
Why you got to do my man? Why you got to do my man Adam Sandler like this?
Come on. Bro, I didn't even see this.
They literally put my man on a time lapse. That's not cool. That's uncalled for, NBA. You should be ashamed. ESPN, you should be ashamed of yourselves. This is not okay. We do not have to do the great Adam Sandler like this. Like my man's on the sideline struggling like this.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and that's fucked up. That's fucked up. He loves basketball. Get some shots of him hooping. Like the dude goes and hoops all the time.
No, he does.
Like,
he's really good. He's actually really good with his little 2-handed push shot. And stop showing Jack Nicklaus, please. Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
It's we don't need to put the camera on Jack.
We're over it.
It's all right. We're happy that Jack's in the house, but I don't know if Jack knows that Jack's in the house. Finally, George, Peyton Manning, I think he put up his retirement on the Lakers in Game 3. So we had a lot of Game 3 action over the weekend. Here we go. Here's LeBron leaving the court. Peyton looking just all right.
Gosh. Is already in the locker room?
You're fuming.
My God, man.
I've
seen that same look after like a receiver runs the wrong route. You know what I mean? Like, get off the fucking field, Stokely.
I knew I should have went to Reggie. Wade.
Like,
why did I throw this fool the ball? It was 3rd and 3. It's a big play.
Big money, man. This is.
It was a rough time. It was a rough time for Peyton after the game. You know, Bron didn't look good. AD didn't look good. It was a bad look. It was a bad look for the Lakers.
No, it was. Whew.
All right, I know you got to roll. Lakers Nuggets tonight. Are we talking sweep or the Lakers get one to get a gentleman finish?
I call sweep here, and I'm hoping that the books are like in giving the Nuggets like the underdog spot here, like saying, "Oh, the Lakers are going to really try hard."
Yeah,
because then I'm going to make some real money. Underdogs in the conference finals have done extremely well in the East, so maybe we can get some here for the West.
All right.
I think Nuggets though.
All right. The Lakers have already played their Scott Foster card, so I'm feeling sweepish as well.
Sweep.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another edition of the American Fan 365 podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Both the YouTube channel. Please continue to follow us on Instagram, TikTok. Oh man, where else are we? Facebook. But also, please download our Spotify and Apple Podcast episodes as well. Let's keep getting those numbers up. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Fan, short for fanatic, is the one who's screaming their lungs out in sub-0 degree temperatures, still believing when the chips are down, and never, ever giving up on their teams or their players. From the closest seat to the worst one, we want to meet you all. This is the American Fan.